Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Scuff 50K. Benson and I here for your final match of the night, FaZe versus Epsilon. But prior to getting into that one, gotta give a major shout out to the sponsors. They're located throughout the venue. There's free G Fuel going out there. There's free jerky.
Yo, every single flavor, by the way. I didn't realize until I went to fill
There's like 485 of them over there. There's so many tubs of different types of G Fuel. You gotta love it. Jerky XP. G Fuel, as we mentioned. Operation Supply Drop. There's a raffle going on all weekend long. I'll probably lose my voice yelling out those winners. On Sunday, we've given away ridiculous things.
How many times have you been trolled at UMG?
Trolled?
Yeah.
In what
Whenever
way?
you do the raffle, people always try to troll
every
you.
single time. There's like a 16-year-old like, yeah! And then he stands up and everyone's like, and no one does that.
A 16-year-old like what?
He sounds like a Pokemon, dude. I don't know where I went with that one. But Scuff Gaming, obviously the best controllers in the business. Control Freak, Pro Kits, and then BenQ. We were talking about that actually at the office the other day.
I just got mine.
You got two, I got two. Best monitors in the business. Got
Duo.
That 144 hertz monitor, also the typical one that you see at events. Great products all around. Obviously, be sure to use the hashtag KFMVP all weekend long.
How'd you find it, by the way?
Have the MVP man of the match. How did I find
your monitor?
BenQ?
Yeah, no, as in like how are you finding it?
Oh, sorry. You're using like the you're doing like the British way of saying like, oh, how do you find your monitor, mate? So far, I've really loved it. Both of them have been absolutely exceptional. They're set on the gaming preference, but basically, if you're wondering why Ben and I are going back and forth, waiting for a few more players to join into the lobby. So far, Ben, I gotta ask.
Yes.
Have you enjoyed first night of UMG?
Oh no, it's been tough. Of course I have, man.
Oh, how have you?
It's been great. Like,
yeah, it really has.
I actually tweeted out earlier on. This is probably in all the years I've been doing UMG events, this is probably the best day one of any UMG in terms of gameplay, production. Nothing has gone wrong. Like, it's been absolutely flawless.
It's definitely my fault, Park.
Honestly, massive shout out to the production crew in the back, working so hard. They've made it just such a flawless experience.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys at home appreciate that too.
And Paul. Paul's the best.
Paul's the man. Paul
running around.
Paul is Jack's dad.
He basically wrangles all the casters and players, make sure they're ready to go.
He does a really good job of it.
At esports producers say great job. Waiting for this match to start up. FaZe versus Epsilon.
I'm so psyched, man. I love
FaZe
watching
already
FaZe
1-0
play.
1-0. They beat Vex earlier on. Have Epsilon played yet? I'm not entirely sure. Who knows? But we'll see heading into this one. Obviously, matches have been going on all day long. FaZe versus Epsilon, though, a series that you expect FaZe to win, I would say. But if Epsilon decide to show up, Vex was saying FaZe came up to a little bit of a slow start earlier on in their series. Obviously, Vex didn't wind up winning that one, but coming to this, if Epsilon want to win the series, they got to start off hot. They got to match the intensity that FaZe will bring. We're starting up game number 1, Biolab Hardpoint. Ben, predictions for this map?
FaZe to dominate. There is, I think, still in the crowd somewhere, a Clay to face on a board.
Oh, it's massive.
Hopefully I get to see the Clay face again.
Oh, wait, I just saw it. It's somewhere around here.
Is it somewhere? It is definitely somewhere around here?
Oh, yeah. There's a look at both your teams. Parasite there, the new addition to Epsilon, obviously after Swanee's departure.
I'm curious to see how Enable plays. As I said, I spoke to him earlier on, feeling a little under the weather.
Yeah.
Hopefully he still has a good performance, because FaZe are going to need him on top of his performance.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, last UMG, I believe Enable went positive, like 24 out of 27 games he played?
Yeah, he had probably his best event I've ever seen him play.
Oh, super. The definition of a consistent player. As we start things off, we're on board with Enable of this FaZe clan lineup. They do have the favorable spawn for the start of this Biolab Hardpoint. Let's see how they can hold the circle.
Enable just putting a couple of shots into a few plays. Hardpoint's going to be contested. Recognizes someone's going to be coming on the flank. Easy pick. That was Parasite. Goes to explosive barrels. Nobody home just yet there. And Enable now may actually try and contest this hardpoint himself. He will fall. Clayster, of course, the main bow, faulty face.
If I'm a fan of the boys of Epsilon, you really can't ask for a better start. They were easily able to break that hardpoint. They've done their best to flip the spawns. They now hold down the blue area. Let's see how long it takes them to break this hardpoint.
Numa trying to break out that hardpoint, unable to get anything going. Attached with a melee on Royalty.
Oh gosh, Clay.
Good play from Clayster as he picks up yet another kill. Meanwhile, Itachi will fall. And speaking of Royalty, he's a player who has had a lot of attention on him, mainly due to his high sensitivity play.
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot of the French player Gataga. And honestly, he is a very talented young man.
Well, we're on board with him off the start. 2 caps to his name. Only 1 kill at the moment, but already the pressure coming in from FaZe. Royalty gets cut down before he's able to find a kill. Realistically, Parasite, the one leading his entire team and the game in kills at the moment. He's 7-3.
Speaking of Parasite, let's take a look at his perspective. Has that bell, there's one. Can he find the second? He will be directly underneath him. I think that stun kind of screwed him over a little bit there as Clayster and Enable. Clean house on that. Hardpoint attached to 7-2, currently on a 4 streak right now. We will switch over to his perspective and see if he can continue this streak on. Speaking of streaks as well, Enable was just on a 3 streak. Watch out for Clayster, though, highlighted on that minimap. He's currently on a 2 streak as well. Make that 3 streak as he's currently slaying around the outside, but Attach does pick up his 5th kill in a row.
Attach doing all he can to stay alive inside the hardpoint, somehow living with the help of Zuma. He continues to chain together time. FaZe now up by 42 seconds, and as you look on the minimap, they have control of the early rotation towards blue.
I mean, so far this has been an absolute obliteration of Epsilon from Team FaZe. Just, you know, it isn't even necessarily they're outslaying by a massive amount. It's just they're winning the crucial gunfights on the hill. Clayster with 3. Can he make it 4? Clayster with the 4-piece. Breaks onto the hardpoint. Looking for 5. Clayster on a 6 streak. Can he find 7? No, not going to happen.
I think he skipped 6, but it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't even matter.
It's just Clayster things, and there's a Clayster face. I see the Clayster face in the crowd.
All with a sub as well, Ben. Known for his dominant AR play there, up close with the SMG, still getting the work done. A full 1-minute lead for FaZe Clan and going. They are absolutely dominating in this game 1 versus Epsilon.
I mean, you look at the kill column now. Nagafen at 5 and 11, Royalty 4 and 10. They need to step things up quite drastically if they're going to have any chance of coming back into this game. But FaZe are not stopping with the pressure. 100 points now to 18 for Epsilon.
A combined 10, make it 11 streak between Zuma, Clayster, and Enable, completely outslaying their opponents on all fronts. This is a rough game 1 of this series versus Epsilon. I mentioned how a couple of Vex guys were saying, you know, FaZe looked a little bit slow to start up that series. In this one, Ben, not at all. A full 100-second lead.
What's slow?
We're only 3 minutes into the game, Ben.
This is a little out of hand right now for Epsilon. Almost 100 points down with still way over 6 minutes to go. Zuma is on a 8 streak, 9 streak with the melee. Can he find 10? There's going to be multiple players over there. Jumps up, there's 10, looking for 11 now. Dropping down, look at how aggressive Zuma is being. Goes for the stomp, turns around, doesn't get the drop shot. Finally, the streak is over. Zuma at 17 and 10. Clayster at 17 and 8. Unbelievable start for FaZe.
If FaZe continue on this slaying streak, Ben, they're on pace to outslay their opponents by almost 70 kills in this first hardpoint.
That's pretty good.
Only 30 seconds through the first 4 minutes have gone in favor of Epsilon.
Lord.
And Ben, it's not even about, you know, what are they doing wrong? Why can't they hold down the hills? They just can't win gunfights.
I mean, it's brutal to say, but essentially you are correct. And just those gunfights on the hardpoint just not being won. Finally, though, Epsilon do get a little bit of control on the final hardpoint of the first rotation. Looking at Parasite as he's just controlling that purple side, being very, very patient.
And this is what makes FaZe one of the best teams in the game. Right there. Obviously, Epsilon doing a fantastic job holding them off. This is what they need to do to begin to mount the comeback. But their FaZe, instead of all flooding 3 players through the red cuts area, they had 2 push towards bottom snow. They had 1 set up in purple, and they did just what they did right there. They executed it yet again instead of just trying to run in with like chickens with their heads cut off and just go 1 by 1 by 1. They wait, they stay patient, they know, hey, we have a big lead. There's no need to rush this, and they continue to break the hills. It's why they're so good at holding on to the lead they have. You can see, here comes that flood from ice. Epsilon are having to just kind of rush into hardpoint, and it doesn't pay off. Dominant performance here through the first 5 minutes by the Red Militia.
Once again, FaZe looking at trying to build themselves a 100-point lead. As Remy now on the hardpoint for Epsilon, though, wants to try and mount the comeback. This could be a good start for them if they can break this hill. Remy being very patient, but just eats a stun to the face, and he should be dead to rights. Finally falls. Parasite trying to push through ice. Can he get some control of the hill? Picks up 1. Hardpoint still going to be contested. Turns around, somehow still alive. It's Parasite. Reloads and finally falls. Clayster and Zuma both on the hardpoint. Remy, last man up for Epsilon. He darts onto the hardpoint. Does get some control over it there, so props to him. Trying to bring Epsilon back into this game.
And Ben, something funny to talk about with this FaZe team is obviously they've won 2 straight LANs, going for their 3rd straight LAN victory this weekend, but typically when a team goes for 3 straight LAN victories, the word dynasty starts to begin to get brought up.
Too soon.
You don't really, well, that's what I'm getting at. You don't hear that brought up with FaZe too often, and I think it's because a lot of people still regard Optic as being right there as
so what's
one of the best teams
interesting
in the
now,
game.
what's really interesting, and I was speaking to Enable about this, if FaZe, this exact FaZe team, if they don't make any team changes and they win every single event left in AW,
Season 3
they
Pro
would
League,
be the most successful squad of players on Advanced Warfare to win the most championships. Because you think about what Optic has won, they've won twice with Enable, So you have to bear that in mind. So if you just look at sheer 4 players, a group of 4 players, this FaZe squad would be the most successful and invincible.
Yeah, as their fourths, they've won with what? Nade Shot, they've won with Enable, they've won with Karma. FaZe trying to do it as the squad of Attach, Zuma, Clayster, and Enable. Attach, the winningest in prize money player so far throughout AW. He self-calls himself a jetpacker as we begin to head towards Black Ops 3. But back to this game, the lead hasn't shrunk at all. FaZe winning in their strongest game mode. When's the last time they lost a hard point outside of to Optic at the Gfinity? I really don't tell you. I think it was before the last UMG event.
I don't think the calendar exists.
Yeah. It's maybe 4 months ago, prior to losing to OG there?
Yeah, it's way too long ago. Zuma on your screens now, currently at 31-19. Clayster is at 31-16. The AR SMG combination of doom, essentially just completely locking it down. Let's have a look at Clayster's perspective, though. Give him a little bit of love. Turns around. Oh my god, I thought he was going to turn on him. That would have been disgusting.
That was so close to being a ridiculous play for Clayster. Nagafen staying alive inside the hard point. And Ben, I got to ask, you know, obviously Parasite now on this team. You saw a lot of positive tweets from him when he first joined this lineup. He loved how the players were willing to listen to what he had to say. And you know, if Parasite is a team that can listen to kind of the improvements he wants to make, that makes Parasite a happy camper. Have you seen a lot of improvements be made since Swanee was on this roster, or do you kind of feel like right now it's still kind of floundering?
All I'm going to say is when Swanee was on this roster, this Epsilon squad beat Optic Gaming. I'm going to leave that right there.
All right. So you think...
I'm just saying. The issue with the old Epsilon squad was sheer motivation, and it was that online play which was really the hindrance. It was never a LAN problem, because Swanee, when he had his teammates in the booth, could motivate them, and that's something that he'll come out and he'll tell you himself. It's just, online it's very difficult to do that, which is why you look at the Pro League record, for example, from the old Epsilon squad, it was never really...
I don't think they want to bring that up.
They're probably trying to forget about that every day that goes by.
Yeah.
But back over to this game, FaZe have just completely dominated 213 to 118 the score.
Oh yeah, I believe it's already mathematically impossible. A great performance from the Red Militia, deciding to come right out of the gates, firing on all cylinders. And you know, this is kind of what we saw earlier on tonight from the squad of Elevate. How dominant teams can be when all 4 players are playing at their peak. That's what you're seeing right now from FaZe. And what it comes down to is when you play with a player like Enable, you're still able to mold into the play style you need. He'll play around your strengths to make sure that they all play to their peak performance, and then he will always find a way to either be even or continue to perform well in these games, as we mentioned back at the last UMG event, finishing positive in like 93% of his games. But to close this one out, FaZe only one goal in mind, that's to reach 250. Zuma, 48
is Zuma
and 28.
Gonna get 50?
Let's see if he can drop the 50 bomb in game 1.
Zuma, get out the hill, man. Get out the hill. Pick up 2 more kills. Not going to happen.
Attach just killed.
Attach was like, yo, Zuma, you try to get that 50 bomb? I don't think so.
Oh, wait, go back up over. He's almost there.
Oh, nah, he's dead, dude.
Don't
worry about it. Don't worry about it.
He still has one final
4
chance.
seconds? 4, 3, 2, pre-fire something. Zuma for 50. No! So close. Just couldn't get that final kill. But still, 49's not too bad. I'll give him that.
There is the hype from FaZe. Clayster, he has that back-to-back FaZe shirt on right there, celebrating their...
How fresh is that, by the way?
Victory. Pretty sick. I'm going to have to talk to
Well,
Tom
what are they going to do if
this.
they win 3 events, though?
I don't even know. Just split it into thirds.
Yeah,
I think that's how
we
math
should really
works.
think about.
I mean, Attach probably talking to Zuma right now. Sorry about killing you right before your 50 bomb.
Nah, he's laughing at him. He's like, ha, you think you're going to get 50?
You didn't get it. You didn't get it.
Today.
Hey,
Congratulations,
no
FaZe,
big
though.
deal.
1-0 up. What's going to be the next map? Do you know?
I believe the next map is going to be Solar Search and Destroy.
Okay, interesting.
Going into this one, Parasite, as we always mention, a very dominant S&D player in AW, the Season 1 and Search and Destroy player of the season. Season 2, Search and Destroy player. We'll see if that helps him here in game number 2 up against FaZe. Ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere. When we come back, Solar Search and Destroy.